past couple of years, without a shadow of a doubt, is the economy. But as I constantly remind Canadians, there isn't really a Canadian economy anymore. It is a global economy.
Genuinely living in a post-truth world where, despite a mountain of growing evidence that debunks a particular narrative, the populace continue to go along with it because the lie has become so enormous, so global, and so self-reinforcing through media, politicians, education, and the herd-like behavior of the masses, that it becomes almost impossible to shift popular opinion.
Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution.
Every doomsday computer model predicting apocalyptic world-ending scenarios has been proven wrong. There's an enormous amount of evidence that debunks the narrative, and yet people largely live as if it's true. Citizens pay their carbon taxes all the time. It seems that at a certain point, so-called science becomes settled, and the consensus of public thinking becomes orthodox. Don't you want to be able to work and go outside unrestricted? Don't you want to see your friends and have a real social life again? Stop making a mountain out of a molehill.
The vaccine is not the thing that keeps a future coronavirus at bay. Because there's always going to be another mutation coming along eventually. Everyone everywhere will be vaccinated.
Vaccines are coming, but COVID-19 is still a threat to you and your loved ones. Vaccinated or not, wear a mask, keep 6 feet apart, and avoid crowds. Let's all keep working together for a healthy Texas.
The World Health Organization, Bill Gates, snake oil. Reaction. Solution.
Surrender your right to privacy and freedom. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Coronavirus. Ireland could face rolling restriction until a vaccine for COVID-19 is found. You're not putting a needle in my arm against my will.
You can't go back to normal life until you take the vaccine.
Will people rationalize tyranny? Or will they resist it?
One issue we have today.
Hey everyone, welcome to Race to the Bottom for December 28th. Hey Canuck and our other returning guest, or sorry, show co-host, Andy. How's it going, guys?
Good. I'm doing well. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to you and everyone else as well. Sorry, I just got to turn
Merry
off.
ho-ho.
Merry ho-ho. Let me just turn off my notifications here. Keep forgetting to do that. Yeah, so how's it been, guys?
Frickin' cold out here.
Oh, really? It's been kind of rainy over here.
Oh, it's
on our end out here, I guess.
way too cold for rain here.
Cool. So I got some funny news I want to share. So I was working on the outro normally for the show, and my I gotta update the thumbnail on that. The outro was placed on my second channel, the Race to the Bottom. It's the clips channel where all of the outros go, and I put it on unlisted, and I just decided to share with some of our followers just because of like a little bit of a sneak peek to give them an idea that we're coming on tonight. And it got taken down. It was unlisted, and it didn't take long. There were some clips, news clips. There was some stuff about what was it? Like some screenshots from Twitter, right? But nothing majorly a big deal. And yeah, it went down right quick. And so it's on BitChute. I'll bring it up and I'll show you where you guys can view it. But there's no show outro tonight. And I'm even thinking...
Are you contradicting consensus opinion once again? You should know better.
Well, you know, I mean, these clips are mostly from the science professionals that are getting promoted lately. So,
Well, that's no excuse.
yeah, okay. Well, you're the logical one, right? I'm not the logical one then. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So there's a couple of topics I think we're going to cover tonight, right? One of them is a topic I was speaking to a gentleman in the VCs on the telegrams. It was just light talk about comic books and, you know, what's going on and some of the titles. And then, of course, you always fall into this fucking rabbit hole, right? Like you just start looking into, well, why is this comic this way? Why is this character this way? And I didn't have any intention to go down a rabbit hole. I was just curious who the new writers were and why they're writing the character as such. So I'm going to cover a little bit about that. And then I was thinking, guys, maybe we should kind of read the report 409, the influenza report from the WHO organization. I don't think that's going to really be too bad, right? Because we're just reading the report. We're like interpreting the data and some of the stuff that's in there, right? I think that's okay.
I think we're allowed to read reports as long as it doesn't involve money. That seems to be our major issue that we have here. Anytime we talk about things that involve money and official documents, it's like, nope, cannot touch that, guys.
Well, a topic I wanted to bring up tonight, math is racist. And no, I'm actually not kidding for this. Math is racist.
You know what? To be quite blunt about it, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the shit that we're doing these days. No,
actually, the Ontario Divisional Court has now ruled that math is racist.
Okay, and what are the actionable consequences of such a decision?
Basically, teaching standards have to be watered down so that not too many white people are recruited as teachers. I'll get more into that later, but I'm actually not kidding one bit here.
Like, where does it end, right? I mean, okay.
It just leaves me speechless, to be honest.
There's a couple of things I want to mention before we get started with the program tonight. One of them is, and like if I sound a little bit schadenfreude, I apologize, because I am feeling a lot of schadenfreude. I like to say that I am vaccine free and healthy, vibrant, a little bit depressed, but judging by the current zeitgeist, I don't think anyone is in a very jovial mood. But that being said, with the number of cases that are going up, in Ontario, it was like 10,000. We hit the 10,000 mark. It was like the biggest milestone ever. And all you do now is hear about cases, right? And I don't know. I mean, if you were an alien from a planet and then they came and they just said cases, 10,000 cases, 100,000 cases, you would think they're talking about suitcases or legal cases or, unsolved mystery cases. There's no real context around that number. There's no details. And I was thinking the other day that just ends up being something like chicken scratch, right? Like if you watch these mathematicians and they're drawing on the board, it looks like alien language. Well, without any context, all those lines and numbers, it's just chicken scratch. Like that's all it is. And so today I found out that my wife's hairdresser has COVID, and he's been double shotted and he's passed it on to his son. So it's interesting to say the least that this is happening, but you got to take things with a grain of salt, right? I mean, anyway. The other thing is I wanted to announce I'm going to be retiring the DLive channel. There isn't too much activity going there, and I just don't think that DLive's anything viable anymore. What I'm going to look into, and I know I have to talk to both Andy and Canuck about this, but maybe going on to Cozy. Don't kill me. Because yes, it's the whole Nick Fuentes thing created it and whatever. But Vincent is up there, but I'm just percolating the idea, so I'm going to talk to...
Do you want us to go to another new, different alt platform that's really going to take off this time?
I don't know, man. I'm trying. Like, I would really like to go on Gab, but we're not in the U.S., and I think Gab is probably going to be the premier platform to get onto. But I gotta look for alternatives. BitChute is it's okay, but the platform hasn't been updated since it went live. There's basically no support. It doesn't act in the way you want it to. It's not well behaved. I don't think that platform's gonna last much longer either. And I you know what? Part of me just wants to give up. Like today when I had that when that unlisted video was deleted, I just thought, well, what's the point? If I don't have that power, I don't have that star power, so I can't argue. We're just a tiny channel. But the fact that we are being heavily censored and blocked means that we're doing the right thing. And then there's that part of me that wants to continue on. So, I guess it's an addiction of some sort. You just can't shut up about the truth.
I think if we're gonna move to a different platform, we should probably just go to Odyssey. Seems like that's where all of the shit is now.
Yeah, Odyssey's working pretty well for me. It's not a single one of my pieces has been taken down. It's not as clunky as BitChute.
So
yeah,
maybe
it's actually looks presentable.
So maybe we'll do the Odyssey thing. Let me talk it over with you guys post show and see if they have a streaming option. I heard they do, but I'm not too familiar with Odyssey.
Sure. I think the only problem that I've had with Odyssey is that you can't change the resolution.
Okay. Well, that's not really a big of a deal, is it?
It is for me when people upload things in 1080p and it tries to play it at that, and my internet just won't fucking do 1080p.
Well, I loaded in Telegram the outro, but I had to decrease the it was at 1080 and I decreased it to 720 because the file size was too big. So I don't think
that's a problem with Odyssey on file size, because I've downloaded people's videos from Odyssey and some of them are fucking pretty big.
Okay. So let me just bring this over. I'll get started with our program here. So TRANScend, Gilead. So let me share the screen with you guys. Sorry. So I started off the convo. The convo was about the character Wolverine. Wolverine's a popular character if you're not into comics and stuff. It's been movies made about him, and he was in the X-Men. Kind of pivotal Canadian character, like a true great, like one of the great Canadian superhero characters. Like there's obviously Captain Canuck or whatever, and then there's Puck, but I mean the one that really stands out is Wolverine. And I used to collect Wolverine comics. I really liked the character. And I got out of comics, and then obviously the whole Comicsgate thing that broke out. Comics started getting weird. I think post 1998, they started doing the hollow covers and everything like that. So I was talking to this guy about it. He had his favorite character was Wolverine, and so he's giving me the lay of the land in terms of what happened with this new character. And apparently he has a son. I'm like, okay, that's sure. And his son is metrosexual and gay. And I'll show you here how I fell into this rabbit hole. So I looked up what's his name? Dakin, right? Here. So Dakin is his son. He's a metrosexual and a bisexual. All of this is not too surprising, but I'm surprised that they were able to do this with one of the major characters in the Marvel universe. And here in the Wikipedia, it states that he's a metrosexual. He's bisexual. Here you can see it right here. So I was like, okay, this is, and it didn't really hit with the fans, but they tried to push it hard. So I was looking at, okay, who's the writer for this this comic? Like, how do they fuck up a character like that? So I looked at her name is Marjorie Liu. So Marjorie Liu is an American New York Times best-selling author and comic book writer. I found out that ethnically she's Chinese, and she's a lawyer. She graduated from University of Wisconsin Law. And I was wondering, why is a lawyer writing comics? Like, how many professionals out there like, well, I graduated with a law degree and I now write comics that don't sell well. Plus, writers don't get as much as, say, artists, but it's not, you're not making that much. Just to give you a little bit about Marjorie Liu. Marjorie Liu was born in Philadelphia and grew up in Seattle, Washington. Her father was Taiwanese. So, I guess, is that even legal? Like, do they fight? She calls herself Chinese. The Taiwanese don't like being called Chinese. But anyway, while her mother was an American of French, Scottish, and Irish descent, she developed an early love of reading for books, blah, 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 blah. Liu majored in East Asian languages, watch this, and cultures, and minored in biomedical ethics.
Well, that seems to qualify her as a writer for a superhero book, right? Or movie or something.
Despite enjoying law school, Liu was disillusioned with the life of a lawyer. I would probably estimate that more in the realm of a failed lawyer, not that good of a lawyer. Instead, she decided to become a writer. So, she actually does have a website. Are you guys ready for it? There we go.
My body's ready. Show me that mixed race beauty.
Yeah. Hold on. So these are her books. This one here, it's okay. Never mind. This one here. Do you see any symbolism here? Because I know, Andy, you're pretty good at this.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, there's a guy in a weird suit. If you look behind him, there are they're wings, but behind that there are skeletal wings, right? Some kind of demons there, right?
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's a
A little horn dude with wings. That one's pretty obvious.
yeah, kind of half goat, half hawk, whatever.
Yeah.
And then an owl, right?
Yeah.
So
And then Finiqua.
you're right. So, and this is a kid's book. And then she's got something about monsters, Tangaroo Palace.
It's actually called Monstress. I think calling it
Monstress,
Monsters is sexist, and
right.
I'm gonna have to write you up for that. That's called
Monsters.
Susan on you.
Well, if you're writing to her, also say that I told her to go fuck herself. Yeah, like these are the titles of her books, and I don't think she sells that well. Here's some. Oh, hold on. Here's some of her other cool titles.
Would she also write erotica as well as children's books?
I don't know, man. Like, you could tell, right? She teaches comic book writing at MIT, guys. MIT now, with the world's most renowned technology university, teaches this drivel. This is what we classify as writing. So she won the GLAAD Media Award, which is I'll read this to you. She was nominated. She didn't win. She was nominated for GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Media Images of the LGBTQ community. She's also the co-creator of Monstrous and Image Comics, which has won multiple Hugo Awards, British Fantasy Awards, blah, 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 blah. So the GLAAD Media Award. So go here. Winners list. Okay, hold on.
Oh boy. I didn't look at any of this before we started, but I just read the little quip on the side there.
So obviously you can tell by the banner what kind of organization they are. They push LGBTQ, blah, 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 blah. Now, first thing I come down is presented by Gilead. The GLAAD Media Awards recognize and honor media for their fair, accurate, and inclusive representations of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community, any issues that affect their lives. They also fund GLAAD's work to amplify the stories of LGBT community that build support for accelerating acceptance. Okay, here's the special guests. Dolly Parton. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Didn't she donate a large chunk of her money to the vaccine that we currently have?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest, but I bet you if you don't have a vaccine, you can't attend Dollywood.
But I'm pretty
so
sure
I
she
doubt
did.
we're missing much.
No, I'm pretty sure, you guys can look it up. I'm pretty sure she gave a large portion, donated. Let me see if I can find it here.
This is just a hodgepodge of, like, junk. Anything associated with media and culture right now in the last, 5 years is just dog shit.
All right, well, here it is. Dolly Parton donated to COVID-19 vaccine research because she knew something bad was on the rise, and it was in the $1 million range. So
Kind of looks like she's had plastic surgery again recently.
that woman is.
That's an old picture. Because it doesn't fucking look like that anymore. She's like 90 fucking years old now.
Yeah, I don't know how these people keep on ticking like this while the rest of us keep on dropping.
Adrenochrome.
All right, she's actually not that old. She's only 75.
Only? I thought she was
Yeah.
older. Okay, well, I mean,
It's just the drugs. That's why she had to get plastic surgery.
she's had so much fucking plastic surgery. Obviously, Rachel, Demi Lovato. You know the woman right now.
That's all just not something worth paying attention to. Though,
I
like
know,
Fred
I
Lowe.
know,
That stuff
but
is
I'm just saying, that these people are part of it. Anyway, so P&G and Gilead. So I was wondering, I asked myself, would Gilead have anything to do with like the hormone therapy treatments that they're pushing on the youth today and whatever? So I went there. Oh, look at that, timed out. So I looked for something like that, and this is what the thing that I got back. And they have something called TRANScend. And we've talked about transhumanism, right?
Talking about which?
I don't know, can you see my screen?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we talked about transhumanism, if you remember. So it's interesting that they use like TRANScend.
Yeah, well, they're trying to move on to the next step, right? I guess.
Yeah.
They're never going to get there, but they're going to keep fucking trying.
So the Gilead TRANScend Community Impact Fund builds on this commitment and will support trans-led organizations working to improve the safety, health, and wellness of the transgender community. Now, to some point, you could say, because comics are read by young people, right? So there's an influx of people that are, coming out of the closet, which is a lot of them are saying, well, I went back to school and everybody's gay. So it's, to me, for some, I understand it's not, but to me, the huge increase in numbers, which doesn't support previous estimates, seems like a fad. But to have Gilead engaged with this tells me there's something more insidious that's going on, right? Transgender people are disproportionately affected by the HIV epidemic. The U.S. Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention estimates that 14% of all transgender women are living with HIV, with Black and Latina transgender women even more impacted or at risk. An estimated 44% of Black African American transgender women are 26% of Hispanic Latina transgender women, and 7% white transgender women have HIV. In 2017, transgenders people have 3 times more likely to receive a new HIV diagnosis than the national average. About half of the transgender HIV diagnoses from 2009-14 were people living in the southern U.S. So it seems there is some correlation, right, with HIV medications, maybe possibly, I haven't gone down that road yet, with drug therapies for transitioning. TRANScend supports strategic program development, capacity building, and implementation of direct services for transgender communities with a $4.5 million over 2 years to community organizations, 80% of which are trans-led. So, you're seeing it in movies, you're seeing it in video games, you're seeing it in adult and children's books. A lot of this stuff is being pushed, and you're wondering, how is it being pushed? Well, there's a lot of money behind it. So, and obviously, there's going to be something in for Gilead as well.
Doesn't overly shock me that they're involved in all of this stuff, especially not with the fact that they're just throwing AIDS or HIV right there on their website. That's their gateway into this whole fucking gay community.
So, did you want to hit it off with your topic? I think you had something similar in mind.
Ooh.
Canuck.
Okay, I thought you were talking to me. I was like, I didn't come prepared, boy.
No,
The Christmas holidays.
Oh, was I doing the math is racist stuff in schools?
I think I saw a topic from you. Just give me a sec. Let me go through your topics. Where was it? Okay, oh good.
Well, I listed 3 of them. The math one, the subsidizing parties, and law firms on the take.
Yeah, you have something there, Transgender Strategy Center.
Yeah, I just posted a link. I just piggybacking off of yours a bit.
Oh, okay. Do you want to talk
I didn't
about
really
that?
have I didn't really have too much to add though.
Oh, okay.
But
maybe it's something that we can cover for another episode, because this looks interesting, right?
well, yeah, I mean, Gilead is definitely a partner there, but considering all the pills and whatnot they make, it's kind of a conflict of interest.
Right. All right. Let's go into your topic, and then we'll go into the reading.
Math is racist.
Math is racist, and we'll go into Report 409.
Okay. Oh, you've disabled sharing.
Oh, Fred, we do this every time. No, I'm really just kidding.
Shush. All right, go ahead. Done.
Okay. Is it showing up?
Nope. It's coming in.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay. This is apparently a real thing. The Ontario Divisional Court, which typically is an appeals court, it also reviews some decisions from like government bodies. It's now decided that a requirement for teachers to be proficient in math is actually unconstitutional. I wish this was sarcasm or satire. There's a group called the Ontario Teachers Candidates Council, which, as far as I can tell, was specifically created when Ford put in a requirement that teachers have to have a certain level of math proficiency, regardless of what grade they're teaching. Apparently, it's unconstitutional because the majority of the people failing were not white, so it must be racist.
Probably not Canadians either.
Yeah. So rather than having one high standard for everyone, because you want students to have a good education, let's get rid of that altogether. As long as they meet the other requirements, they're still allowed to teach children.
As long as they complete their worksheets, they'll finish school. That's the only thing you need to do.
God, we're getting dumber and dumber already. This is just going to make it worse. And then they're going to make the excuse like, hey, we can't find qualified candidates for IT or STEM jobs, so we're going to need to import more from India and China.
Yeah, got the ruling. Yeah, there's a few sections of it.
Before you continue, I'm just very curious. Can you go back to that page you were at, the fundraising page?
Fundraising. Oh,
Yep.
the GoFundMe.
Can you look at? Sorry, go back up. Oh, that's not the page. I wanted to see the top donos.
Okay. Oh, you on the actual page, not the screenshot.
Yeah, I was curious as to who the top donos were. Yeah, just click on that. See top donos on the bottom. Yep.
Anonymous 800.
Wow. Okay.
The
Ontario
Secondary School Teachers Federation.
Yep. 500.
They gave him.
And then there's also another 300 there from Ontario Secondary School.
District 12, it looks like.
Yeah.
So the teachers groups are actually helping to subvert the requirements.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to see that.
Most of these are anonymous.
Stephen Kahn, a Chinese guy that wants to lower the math requirements. Good God. Mr. Kwan, I'm very unhappy with you. Yeah, but that's very interesting, right? You have these two district boards, unions. One is the union, and the other one is also a board, but District 12. So the unions, but they're also getting money from us, right? So,
yeah. So we're paying them so they can turn around and give money to this new organization to subvert education for our kids.
Yeah.
Suddenly the whole sovereign citizen concept sounds pretty damn appealing.
It does.
I'm just saying.
Sorry, I increased the audio. I don't know if it's better, Andy. So
I don't know. Faye was asking. I put my mic up too.
Okay.
Should
be better.
I copied a few quotes out of the ruling. Paragraph 33. In particular, field test demographic data showed that non-whites candidates writing in French were only successful 55% of the time, whereas white candidates writing in French were successful 84% of the time. Candidates.
So math isn't racist. It's just that nobody likes French people, and they probably just make their shit confusing because they hate minorities in Quebec.
Candidates who identified as belonging to non-white ethno-racial groups, such as African, Indigenous, Latino, Middle Eastern, failed at a significantly higher rate than white candidates. Candidates who indicated they had a cognitive disability failed the field test at over twice the rate of candidates without a disability. As for the remedy, we're getting into the conclusion. A declaration will issue that the mathematics proficiency test and the legislative provisions that created infringe Section 15 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and the infringement cannot be justified under Section 1. Basically, equality and discrimination. A declaration will issue that the Ontario College of Teachers shall grant certification to teacher candidates who have not passed the mathematics proficiency test, or shall grant full certification in the case of teacher candidates whose certification is conditional on passing the mathematics proficiency test. And in the end, respondents shall pay the applicants $90,000 in costs of the application. So these buggers took the schools for $90,000 in costs. So the people who donate on your GoFundMe, guess what, suckers? The people who hired the lawyers are laughing to the bank.
Sounds like one particular organization we know, or several. We've talked about this, right? And I'm just mentioning it. Sorry, I can't talk today. Mentioning it again because these charities, these NGOs, they really do not do much good. They don't. They're there as, I'm just going to say it, money laundering schemes, legal money laundering schemes, as they pass money they funnel it from one organization to another till you can't find the trail. And sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this organization was created specifically to challenge it, like that. From reading into it, that's my understanding. That was its sole purpose.
Yeah, but it's still an organization, and it's taking money from the unions, money that the unions collect from their own workers, money that's paid from, like, especially in this case, because they're public servants or civil servants, and they are paid through us, right? So the money that we pay into the government then pays these people, then their money goes into these organizations, which we have no say in. The average normie, I'm telling you, 98% of the people out there don't know this is going on.
Yeah. And
I might, what I might do just because of this? I'm going to print this shit out and go to door and talk to a lot of my Asian neighbors. Because if they find out that their kids are being, like, stupefied because math is hard, they got to lower the grading. You need qualified teachers to teach the subject matter that they're teaching the kids, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect a fucking gym teacher to be teaching math or whatever, But at least the math teacher, I told you guys in a private convo, if you remember, my daughter, the teacher couldn't do fractions.
Oh, that was actually one of the big things on this proficiency was the fractions. Apparently, the non-whites were failing out in huge numbers.
We definitely had a teacher at my school who was the gym teacher and also a math teacher, and then he became the principal of a school. So shout out to him. Also played on Team Canada basketball team.
Yeah.
Small plug.
So I mean, every day, like, just when you think you've hit rock bottom, it's, yeah, we need to scrap this requirement just so we can have more non-white teachers. To hell with the education.
Yeah, well, the point of the point for diversity hires is not about diversity hires. It's to fuck the system. Do you understand? You want to stupefy a generation. You want to make them manacle, by the way, by having them conceal half of their face. These kids are not going to grow up normal. Don't anyone that's going to argue with me about that, I'll have a bunch of data and material to argue against them. These kids are not going to grow up normal.
No, and that's probably the goal, is to fuck them up long term.
So fuck up their psychology, fuck up their base knowledge areas, especially like, you know, the things that matter, right?
Yeah.
History, science, math and stuff. The other stuff is whatever. But the basics, that they develop that foundation so that then they can go study whatever they want to go study, right? You fuck that up, you destroy their career. Now you have a bunch of, you know, psychologically damaged people with no foundational basis on the streets. Easy to manipulate. They have no future. And they're going to be tied to the government. That's what this is about. It's not about this diversity shit. It has nothing to do about it. Nothing. And I guarantee you, if I went with this paperwork that you put this report together and then I go and show my neighbors, they're going to be fucking upset. And which, you know, by the way, I'm going to do. I'm going to go around and I'm going to show my neighbors, like, here you go. How do you like this?
Well, I mean, any parent would want their kid to have like a decent education, like. And you really have to wonder, like, I wasn't able to get an exact answer. How many people were actually concerned enough about this to get this group going?
Probably not that many.
Yeah, because the reports that they're citing, it made it sound like, oh, there's this huge wave of minorities getting failed. But how many people were actually behind starting this group? Because it listed, I believe, five people. But how many teachers?
Probably a very small amount.
Yeah.
And probably that was 5 people that ran that GoFundMe.
Yeah, who ran the group?
Well, I guess those 5 people just made a bunch of money.
And the funny thing is, a couple of them are university professors.
So this doesn't even concern them at all.
Yeah, I had to wrap my head around that, because you're teaching at a university level. I think one was Carleton and one was somewhere else in Southern Ontario. Like, why would you be screwing up your next cohort of students? Like, I don't get it.
Just cultural degradation, I guess.
Well, that's what it is. Plus, let me just share the screen again. I want to do something here. Hold on. I want to pull up. I like going to the CIC News, and I'm just going to show the folks what's going on here. And this may explain why professors are doing this. So, share screen. Let's see. This is latest. Immigrant wages in Canada are on the rise. Immigrants who become permanent residents in 2018 had a median wage of $31,000, reported in 2019, and that's gone up to $38,000. Again, it depends on what they're doing, but they're bringing in all kinds of people, whether it's professional, labor, whatever. So, but they're still, on average, less than the people that are born here, or like old stock Canadians, whatever. On average, they are a lot lower. Here's another article. Canada breaks all-time immigration record by landing 401,000 immigrants in 2021. By Kareem El Assal and Shelby Tevnot. French Canadian, right? So, and I don't think this number is accurate, by the way. I don't think we really have a clear idea of the number of people coming in, because that's not including visa students.
Nope, and we don't keep track of how many actually stay.
Right. So it would be to the best interests of, let's say, it depends on who that university professor is. Do you have his background?
I looked at the background, a couple of them. Let's just say I don't think I should get into it, and I'll leave it at that.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to show the telegram here. Let's close the stickers. This is an Immigrate to Canada channel. Just to give you an idea what's happening in the background, because people don't have a clue what is going on. My relatives are coming to Canada on visitor visa in January. Is it okay if they book return ticket? Good morning. I need to work in Canada. Hi guys. How long before police certificate from a country is valid? My police certificate is issued 4 months ago, and I didn't even visit the country after my police certificate is issued. I lived in that country 6 years ago for duration of 3 years. Could be Azaz or whatever. A couple of things here. Hi guys, I have a doubt. If we want to create PNP profile for various provinces, which website I need to go and create profile? Like example, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, PEI, Ontario, etc. Anybody give job and Canada visa? Like, look at these people. Madhumit Suresh. This is what's happening. Like, guys, you're being replaced. Vincent has been talking about this shit for more than 5 years, when we've been talking about it not as long as he has, because I haven't had the show. And then we had an earlier show, but, Andy joined, and then, Canuck's been doing this work, breakthrough projects on the the border there, or the what's that pass called? Jeez, I can't recall right now. They're in Quebec, where they're walking right through the border.
Oh, Roxham Road.
Yeah, apparently they closed it, but now it's open again. Look at this.
No, now it's officially open again.
I don't think it's closed yet. I think they're discussing closing it.
Oh, well, they'll discuss
it was
forever.
closed, and then they just opened it again.
Well, no, what they actually did in 2020 was they converted it into a legal border crossing and let people come in. So that's kind of how they cut the quote-unquote cut illegal entries. They just legalized it.
Okay, because the article that I read a while ago said something like it had been closed for a few months, and then they just opened it a couple weeks ago, but they're in talks with the United States about how it's actually a safe country for people to stay in, and that they don't have to come here.
Here's Samir Sharma asking, is anyone from Minitopia? Topa.
Oh, actually, can I go off on a little bit of a rant?
Yeah,
here?
absolutely.
Um, you know how back in 2016, 2017, when our hero down south, Donald Trump, got elected, everyone assumed that he was actually serious about borders. Thing is, and I looked up some of the parliamentary hearings here. Even though he did absolutely shit all, his rhetoric was used as an excuse for politicians in Canada to essentially loosen the rules for people to settle here. Essentially, because he was lying his ass off to voters down south, his words were used as an excuse to settle people up here. So he actually did a lot more harm than good, I would argue.
I would agree with what you just said. I think we've probably talked about this before on the show. But yeah, Donald Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric at the same time as Trudeau was all gung-ho on bringing people here, it just timed fucking perfectly.
Yeah.
Well,
so it created a wave of people. It's like, oh, it's not safe with Trump. So Trudeau says, bring him here.
Just so you know, I wonder if I can play that clip. Hold on. Give me a sec. I better not, because I'll probably get, I won't be able to download the video and then put it up on BitChute fast enough before they take it down. But you guys are realizing that Donald Trump is now the CNN sweetheart, because he went around on this tour. People were booing him. He's like, hey guys, the vaccines are great. And I brought this in. I did this. It was me. And then he made a statement where he was actually thanking Biden. He's like, I don't think that guy's such a bad guy, because he thanked me for my work on my warp speed program. And it's like,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, they're just acting. I mean, wasn't "Lock Her Up" the rallying cry in 2016, referring to Hillary Clinton?
Well, isn't CNN owned by Time Warner that also owns the television channel where Donald Trump had his television show on?
Small world.
Yeah. Because I believe that there's a story that Donald Trump and the guy who was the head of Time Warner used to talk to each other on the phone like once a week, or maybe it was every day or something like that. They were very good friends. This was before the election, and then when the election started giving them all this coverage, everybody's like, oh, it's bad coverage. CNN's calling. I was like, yeah, but any coverage is good coverage. Like, that did him so much good. If they hadn't done all of that coverage of him, he wouldn't have got all... He wouldn't have had so many eyes on him. Like, it wouldn't have been such a spectacle, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Anyways, I mean, I'm kind of glad that he's talking like this, because it's red-pilling people pretty quick, right?
I don't know. These people are so fucking dumb that they'll forget. They'll forget all of this.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think you're wrong, but maybe some may not. I don't know. Maybe I have false hope in people still. But never give up, never surrender. All right. So, we done with that, I guess. We can move on to the influenza update. All right. So, more than a few episodes ago, we talked about a flu report back in 2020, December fourth quarter timeframe. And it looked promising that we were defeating the common flu because we were, near zero. So I was kind of curious to see where we were in terms of the influenza. And they do have a report, 409. And this was published, in December 6th of this year. Some of the things that's interesting to note is the current influenza surveillance data. Just keep in mind here, okay? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so people can see. The current influenza surveillance data should be interpreted with caution as the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has influenced to varying extents health-seeking behaviors. Any comments or thoughts to that line?
Well, at least they're attempting to report flu numbers again, because,
Well, I
I'm
know
not sure what Canada's doing specifically, but they stopped for over a fucking year, a year and a half. They stopped counting flu numbers because there was no flu, because the flu is now named COVID-19, and because of such, we don't call it the flu any longer.
Well, I know Global had a thing on Alberta back in March. The province reported 0 cases of flu deaths, which I'm pretty interesting.
Everywhere did. Everywhere reported 0 cases of the flu, period. After March, whatever the day was that they announced all this shit, it was like March 10th or whatever the fuck, 13th. They stopped counting the flu, and there was no more. You can go to, like, I think the official counter in Canada is like Flu Watch, and it even shows on there none.
Part of this has to do, so yes, people practicing better hygiene, social distancing, whatever. But I mean, regardless, even with those rituals, people still got the flu, right? Like there is no cure for it. And it's less likely that people, let's say you've gotten symptoms, because there are pneumonic flus, right? And you're going to think, oh boy, I got CV, so I can't really go anywhere. Coupled with faulty detection services, this is the reason why, like, these reports are coming almost nil. So let's get into the report, and we can try to interpret it together. So here's the summary. The current influenza survey, okay, I already read this. Globally, influenza activity remains low, but continued to increase, especially in the temperate zones in the northern hemisphere. With the increasing detections of influenza during CV pandemic, countries are encouraged to enhance their surveillance and monitoring of influenza and CV. At the same time, step up their influenza vaccination campaign to prevent severe disease and hospitalizations. How are people getting the flu shots when they're getting their CV shots? But if you recall, a lot of those so-called professionals that appear on CBC and national news, CNN, blah 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 blah, are saying, yeah, you're also protected from the common flu with these shots.
It all depends on what day you listen to the rhetoric, because I haven't heard that one, I don't think.
I have. In the temperate zones of the northern hemisphere, influenza activity, although still low, starts to increase. Both influenza A and B were detected. In North America, the flu detections, predominantly A, H3N2, among the subtyped, increased, but overall remained low. RSV activity decreased in the USA and Canada. So, we'll just continue on. This gives you a relative idea of the flu outbreaks. B being the highest in North America, because that's all I'm looking at right now, and then A, not subtyped, in Europe. I don't care about everybody else. I want to bring us to this report. Where is that graph? Here. This is an important one. So this line here is the percentage of positive cases. The blue line going up here, right, is the percentage of positive CV cases. The bars represent the specimens tested for CV, And then the bars here represent specimens tested for influenza. This is where I want to pick your guys' minds on what I think is happening here. So in the month of April, positive signs of influenza were high, right? Up in 80K range, and dropped significantly, in July and those months right through October, but the slight increase. But you could see the CV-19 cases were also rising. Didn't we have some new lockdowns starting in around that month in April?
That's what I said. In the middle of March, which is when the graph starts to drop there on that influenza positive line, was when they stopped testing for the flu when it goes down, and then where that blue line starts is where they started testing for coronavirus. And that's why that bar graph at the bottom, the frequency of specimens tested for influenza significantly drops, right?
Yeah.
To only not even 5% of whatever the fuck they're testing, right? So you got no flu testing, so therefore you got no flu positives because we're just not looking for it. We got COVID, the new flu, because right around then, you'd be getting kind of a new flu, right? New flu comes kind of in the spring and kind of in the late fall, winter time, right? Change the name, start testing for the new one. Here it is. And then they, for some reason in October, you see where we got all these more specimens tested for the flu, but we got no cases because we were like, actually, we'll call it coronavirus instead. So then the graph I'm talking about October of 2020, not.
Oh, here, yeah.
Right there, yeah. So they started testing more, up to 15% in fucking November, December, whatever. Yet the line, the positive line, that's still flatlined at fucking 0. So why is that? Because it probably also found COVID, the new flu. So they're like, well, we'll just call it that. We won't call it influenza
Delta,
anymore.
right? Wasn't it Delta?
Yeah, exactly, right? No. Was it Delta last year? I think it was still just regular coronavirus last year.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So, and I'll let Canuck speak in a minute, but to me this graph is the inverse if you were to draw out the lines based on policy, like lockdown policy. Do you see what I mean? We had a slight raise, which is normal, seasonal flu, right? A raise in positive cases, but less specimens tested. This was sometime in October when the Delta was starting to die off, right? That narrative, people have had 80% of the people out there supposedly have had 2 shots already of Delta, right? It was sometime mid-November, when news of MORONIC started coming out. And, it'd be interesting to see how that data correlates, because you'll probably start to see this flat line again. And again, testing increases for CV MORONIC, and you'll see the graph go up and this go down. And it just, again, correlates to me the narrative of the lockdown policy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Canuck, you see anything that I'm not seeing, or is there a correlation that I have missed?
No, it makes sense. I guess I have to be careful how to word this. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. You have to wonder when exactly these graphs were drawn, before or after the fact. I'm just saying, I find with a lot of the stuff, it's the narrative is put in, and then the numbers and the predictions kind of have to be worked around it. But yeah, it's I,
Are you on mute and talking, or you're just being quiet?
No, I'm just being
I'm
quiet. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm letting Alex
yeah.
percolate what it's tough doing these live shows. You know, it really shows what kind of wit you have, because you're thinking, shit, what can I say that's not going to be killing the channel?
Yeah. But I mean that you get more cases into the fall and the winter, but with less testing done. So it's and that's one question I have to ask. And again, don't want to kill the channel. How long before you take the specimens before they're actually tested? Are they like a day or two, or a few weeks or months? Because we've seen in Ontario, they sometimes sit on the stuff for a bit, and then, oh, sorry, we have all these cases.
Yeah, it kind of just goes to show that none of this is trustworthy evidence, probably.
Yeah.
But that's anti-science with a capital S, so
Well,
wouldn't want to blaspheme the gods.
I've tried to look for the raw data. I'm sure it's out there. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but I did get some pages where, I'm not allowed to view. I would like to see some of the raw data. Like they say here, data generated on December 17th. But, I've tried to go to that website. Let's see if it opens it up. Okay. Viewable. I know the charts. I don't want to see. And we already saw that, but I want to see the numbers. Data from the latest week. Let's see if we can get this.
Last update, November 7th, 2016. I think you're asking for too much.
Yeah, it's not even letting me do anything. Upload from Excel. I'm just saying that this report isn't very different from the one we talked about last time on the report back in 2020 of similar time frame. So, like if you remember, we were joking about it that we've won the war on the flu.
Yeah. Well, I remember joking earlier this year. This disease is deadly, but don't worry. As long as you're going to wineries, it's okay. As long as Bonnie keeps her steak in that Carameo's place, wineries will be a safe place to work.
Something just occurred to me. When did they start saying the moronic was coming out of? Where was it moronic coming out of from? What
came from a dude fucking a monkey in Africa?
No. Come on.
Oh, sorry, that was a different virus.
Stop it. Fuck. Disavow. Don't get the channel nuked, okay?
You're allowed to say that. I'm pretty sure that Snopes even says that's where AIDS comes from.
Okay. No, was it from Ghana? Was it from Ghana?
I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping track of it.
I think it was from somewhere. I'm just curious. The reason I'm asking is, like, if we follow the increase in flu cases, because moronic came from Africa, right? And then all of a sudden it spread globally. To be interested to see where some of these so-called flus came from. Because if you remember, I think I'm allowed to say this. One of the African presidents said that yes, they have cases, but it's mild. They have no registered deaths from it. So.
Then he was murdered by a 3-letter agency.
Stop.
No. He was suicided.
Right. He had a mysterious heart attack when he was swimming with 2 bullets in his head.
Anyways, yeah. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I did have a nice outro. But I'll actually, you know what I could do is I could show you. Would the channel get hit if we played it from BitChute?
Maybe.
It's just a matter of like, I don't know what it was that's in there that got it hit, right? It was probably like one clip of something trademarked or whatever.
Oh, can I bring up one thing quick before we? I don't think we covered it yet. At least not on this stream.
Sure.
Okay. And chalk up another victory for us conspiracy nuts. That whole digital identity thing, which absolutely is totally not happening.
Yes, I've heard of that thing that's not happening at all.
Well, it turns out a company that's been, has the capacity to do digital ID for licenses, health cards, passports. Apparently, they're in talks with the feds to do a national vaccine certificate. And I'm thinking, how easy would it be to merge those 2 databases? But again, it's totally a conspiracy theory. It's nothing to worry about. When exactly this will happen, I don't really know. It's just in talks right now.
Seems like it's going to be happening probably sooner than later.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They got 1.5 million from Canada Post, which is strange, I guess, to get from them.
Well, not if they're going to do like, what are they going to do? When you send a letter, you're not going to have to buy a stamp because your ID card will just like ding you stamp fees or something, maybe. I don't know.
And looking a bit through them, they've been getting grants going back a decade from the National Research Council. So we've actually been financing our own further erosion of privacy.
Yeah, but the framework for all this is already set up to have all of the government stuff put into one app because they've already finished building the OneGov portal that everybody uses now.
So, and looking through a few of the people who are talking to the feds. Oh yeah, they all used to work in the federal parliament, so that shouldn't surprise anyone. But yeah, anyhow, this is coming. Totally a conspiracy theory, though.
We've talked about this, like we've talked about tampo printing, subcutaneous. We've mentioned this. I mean, there was in the outro, and I want people to go there because there's a lot of information. There was a clip from Manitoba. There's a clip from an earlier discussion on back in 2019 how to get people to increase vaccine uptake. There's a lot of good information in there and some funny stuff, right? But one of the things is Sweden is implementing. They've always had this chip thing before, right? It's basically the test was on pets. I never understood why you would want to chip your pet, right? But that helped, I believe, to get people acquainted. Well, yeah, it's a good thing to chip your pet. You wouldn't want to lose your loved one, right? So what's the next step? Well, chip your child because you wouldn't want to lose your loved one. Right, but we're going to psychologically damage them in schools and remove them from programs and activities and, geolocate them and lock them down, in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's the next step in transhuman. Like, what do you think that whole what's it called, meta universe is? You're locked down, you can't go anywhere, so have a virtual vacation.
Yeah. Take a virtual walk through Cairo. You wouldn't want to go there anyways.
Yeah. Oh, something else I published recently. You know how in Ottawa nothing ever seems to get done? Well, it's interesting that the federal Liberals, the federal Conservatives, and the federal NDP are all on the wage subsidy. So they keep the programs going so they can finance their own parties.
Yeah, you also wrote an article about the Bar Association or the lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah, there's several hundred law firms who are getting the wage subsidy, as well as the Canadian Bar Association, Ontario Bar, the Quebec Bar, and the Nova Scotia Bar. So all of the groups that control the levers of power, they're all on the subsidies.
And we wonder why there's no legal challenges going through.
Yeah, and everyone's favorite lawyer is also subsidized as well, but I'm sure that's a coincidence.
I'm sure it is, just like him being on the ethics committee or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So, yeah, when people who have the power to do something, their wages are getting subsidized by taxpayers. I'm just saying there might be an incentive to not really wind things down.
Yeah, but all these boomers are just complaining about all these retards scamming CERB, which is pretty bad, but that's small fish.
It is. United Conservative Association, that's actually Jason Kenney's party in Alberta.
The boomers
Very
are
few people know
upset
that.
about the scammers because they're putting fourth, fifth mortgages on their property so they can go off to Florida. Anyway. I just noticed Michelle Rempel there. Ooh, she's like detestable. Fuck, I can't stand that woman.
Yeah, I can't understand why she's such a darling of the conservative groups. It's like she screws them over every single time.
Well, she isn't bad looking. Put a nice pair of tits and a nice ass in front of a guy. They get all stupid.
Yeah, I realize that, but in terms of what she actually does for her constituents, she screws them every time.
Yeah, but I'm sure she dolls up and knocks on the door every once in a while. Hi.
See, but I'm pretty sure that Michelle Rempel's riding is like a pretty hodgepodge area of Calgary. So maybe she's doing exactly what they want, pandering to the rich.
Probably.
But that's just gonna make me sound like a socialist. So don't want to say that too loudly.
I just want to mention something before I close out, and then you guys, I hope you go check out the outro. It's really good on BitChute. Do you want to give them the link to the BitChute in the chat or someone while I
can do that.
Yeah. So one of the people in our group, she's from, she's from Canada, but she's studying in the U.S. and her family went to visit during Christmas. She's just mentioned to me they are trying to extort from her parents $300 each, and to get back in. The story is if they want to cross back into their province, they have to pay $300 each, but they also, if they require a nasal rape, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. They require a PCR nasal test kit on them, and if they refuse, that's a $5,000 fine.
They might as well just go through Roxham Road illegally. They get free health care and benefits. No, I'm serious. In that situation, I would just say screw it. I'd go through Roxham.
Yeah. Yeah, let's. I mean, so that's the situation, right? we're basically, we're not treated as citizens anymore. And is there, citizenship used to mean something. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It really isn't. I mean, if you see what the shit's going on in the world, in Germany, Austria, I mean, good God, like there's. See if I can show some pictures here. Yeah. Okay. Here's one that let me pictures.
Well, Germany is an interesting case because let's just say the more diverse neighborhoods, they don't enforce lockdowns nearly as much because the cops are actually scared of physical harm to them.
Yeah, I think didn't Thomas Murray write a book about that before even Corona started?
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. The no-go zones are ironically some of the freest areas in Europe.
So here's the picture my daughter took at a Walmart. What do you say to that, right? Then here's a video.
Yes, you are.
I don't know if you've seen these guys. So the story is there's an elderly man. He's been identified, and he's around 80 years old. He took off his mask on an airline so he can eat, which you're allowed to do. So this chick decides to snap and tell him to put on her mask while she doesn't have her mask, and then you'll see.
Drink your ass up. Don't you dare talk to me like that.
God damn it.
You stand your ass up. Stand your ass up. Stand your ass up.
Sit down, Karen.
Karen?
You're a goddamn Karen.
No.
Sit down.
Sir.
Sit down, Karen.
Sit down, pussy.
Pussy, no, you're the pussy.
Oh, no, you're the dick.
See the wife trying to stop him. He's not having any.
What about him? Mask up. Mask up.
I'm eating and drinking. I'm eating and drinking.
Tell him
You
to
got
mask
your
up.
mask down, bitch.
Sir. Did you call me a bitch?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Right on.
so she goes to slap him, then she grabs his neck, and then she's about to clock an 80-year-old man.
I'm pretty sure the first hit was closed fist.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, let me see here.
Yes, I did.
Oh, yes.
Now you're going to jail. That's assault.
She clocked him. Yes, you're right. It wasn't a slap. It was an actual closed fist punch. Wow.
You're going to jail. As soon as we get Atlanta, you're going to jail. Bitch. Karen.
Then she spit in him.
Spit on me. Now you're double going to jail. Bitch.
You fucking piece of shit.
Piece of pussy. Sit down, Karen.
Fucking
Sit down, Karen. Sit down, fucking Karen. Look, she punched me. She
Put your
slashed my
fucking
face.
mask on. Tell him to put his mask on. Put your fucking
She
mask
punched me.
on.
She scratched my face.
People are
I'd hate to be that woman's children.
people are fucking
Idiotic.
not idiotic, psychotic. That's a psychopath. You understand? Here's something funny I just want to play because I can't play the outro, but I think I play this.
Because so many people have gotten the vaccinations, tens of thousands of people are not dying.
There's a lot of people who get the vaccine and is dying right now.
Nah, that's not true.
So, no, it is true.
No, it's not true.
Fox News says the truth.
Fox News says it's true, but that's definitely not true. It's false. That's the
I
problem.
like this
Fox
Mexican.
News is the one that you can get, like
Now, let me just tell you, sir. The greatest scientists in the world know that this vaccine is saving lives. So my question for you
Fauci is not the best scientist in the world.
Yeah, well,
that's just one opinion, you know.
Yeah, you're hearing bad information, sir. But with all due respect, I wish you good.
I like that guy.
I tell you, I'm convinced. There is obviously some very good scientist guy. That dude who forgot his toupee at home told me.
Oh, crap. Yeah, so I wanted to God, can I play this? I'll play for a few seconds. Hold on. Let's see if I can play this.
Let me show you why I'm pissed at Trump. I'm pissed at Trump about this. Investigation has been launched after a 3-year-old girl dies from cardiac arrest one day after receiving COVID-19 Pfizer shot in Argentina. I'm pissed for that little sweetheart.
Okay, that's as much as I can play it. But hey, you know what? Of all our gripes, we have a lot of gripes, and we definitely know a lot about Alex. But that's cool. Like, I mean, that is some kind of fantastic when you start to see shit like that. Yeah, I think that's the close of our show. Oh yeah, I was going to bring up the let's see, bring up the BitChute.
I posted the link in the chat here.
All right.
I've got a video coming out in the next day or two. It's been using that new program Fred got for me. It's almost done.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I felt like being Santa.
Yeah. So I thought I'd take a lot of the research I did in the last year and a half and turn it into a video.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah, it's going to be a documentary. So check it out.
And the book, The Immigration and Borders, has had some more delays, but that's almost done as well.
So,
but everybody can see that you like your own videos now.
That's okay. Well, there's only one of me, but why not? I like the work that I did and put in effort into this show. But yeah, do give me a like, and also sub, to the channel. That's where we're going to be posting our shows, because we will definitely be moving this show, tonight's show, into BitChute, because this is going to get deleted for sure. I just know it that I'm going to get some bullshit strike just playing for like a couple of, maybe 15 seconds of Alex, right? But anyway. So that's it. No closer tonight. I'm just going to end it. And I'm working with Canuck to get a professor on the show. He had written a book about immigration and the history of Canada. Very good book. I'm not going to mention anyone yet because we don't have confirmation yet. There has been some back and forth and some response to Canuck. And I'm hoping that in the new year we can have him on as a guest, because I like his work and be really interested to understand his point of view of what's happening with Canada and the current paradigm that we're in. So I guess that's it. Anything else from you guys?
I have nothing. I was not prepared.
So
No, I'm good. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Hey, there's Jesus. I haven't seen Jesus Gonzalez in a long time, man.
He's already gone. He
gone?
Went to bed.
Okay. I'm glad he was able to. And then there's Faye. Faye's there. Who else did I miss? Verbal Armament. Cool. All right, guys. Have a nice evening. Thanks for coming out. We don't frequently do these anymore, just because of censorship and shit like that. Yep. All right. Peace out, and have yourselves a happy new year. I hope the best for everyone and their families. Stay strong, stay true, hold your ground. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.